Wales is the first UK nation to offer this, free meals to all children up to and including Year 6, regardless of their circumstance. So that is an extra 167,000 kids who are eligible. The Welsh Government said the £260 million policy would help children concentrate and eliminate stigma faced by struggling families. The Welsh Conservatives claimed there had been reports of low-quality meals and small portion sizes. In England, after Year 2, only children and families who qualify for certain benefits are eligible for free school meals. And that alone costs the government up to £1 billion each academic year. But with around 4.3 million children facing poverty, is this a plan worth paying for? What do you think, Robert?
So I think, look, I campaign for free school meals to be extended to FE students, FE college students, because they didn't used to get it. So I absolutely support the principle of free school meals, but for students who are from disadvantaged backgrounds. I don't see, if parents are wealthy enough to pay for their kids' free school meals, why it should be extended universally. And if they've got £260 million to spare, I'd much rather spend that on focusing on perhaps extra tuition for disadvantaged children, which is absolutely vital and has been shown to work, or getting absent children back into school, because we've got a huge problem at the moment that post-COVID, that still there's thousands and thousands of students are not yet back in the classrooms, who still aren't coming in.
I saw 1 in 5 in some areas.
So yeah, it is really bad. And what they should be doing, focusing money on the disadvantaged rather than just saying, yes, we'll fund everyone. And again, by the way, when they say we'll fund everyone, where does that money come from? It's the general taxpayer. So the general taxpayer then has to pay. So I don't think that this is a good idea.
I suppose the advantage is that you no longer are identifying the poorest children if they all get a free meal.
Yeah, and I agree with much of what you've said. I think there is nuance here, but yeah, that is the argument for just rolling it out for everybody, is that if you come from a family that maybe can't afford to, sort your hair out when you've got lice, or if you haven't got books at home and so on and so forth, to have that extra stigma of, my family haven't got any money, it's quite tricky. I was speaking to someone the other day who came from an incredibly disadvantaged background, and, you get such interesting insights. She was saying she would, at the end of the day, try and get detention every day because she didn't want to go home for various reasons. Yeah, and there's so much that schools have to deal with. And what I also found an interesting insight is that at the moment, schools are saying, in fact, 40% of school leaders are saying they're already accommodating a lot of children who aren't eligible for free school meals because they're not getting enough to eat themselves. And I think what we can all agree on is you just want children's bellies to be full at least once or twice a day at school if they're not getting that at home.
You've argued for a wealth tax to try to fund this.
Well, I feel like a lot of people like myself really supported the Greens policy, which they put forward, which would be two tax. And when I say wealthy, there's always a lot of people who go, oh, I'm already paying enough tax. I'm talking about people who are earning £4 million a year, or who have assets of like £10 million.
How many of them are there in Wales?
But there's quite a lot in the UK, and we're talking about rolling, and Wales seem to have found the money or found a way to do it. If you taxed those sorts of wealthy people, 1%, which they wouldn't feel, you raise like 50 billion quid.
OK, what about that, Rob? You find someone earning £4 million a year and you say you've got to pay 400,000.
The wealthy rightly pay the vast, significant amount of tax, the wealthiest pay. And secondly, what you'll do is they'll just spirit money out of the country and not invest, and that will have an effect. And secondly, once you start on this principle, what about a wealth tax for more nurses or whatever it may be? So, and again, I go back to the general principle. Why not focus money on the disadvantaged pupils rather than just say everyone, whether rich or poor, can have a free school? So just to answer your point very quickly, I know schools that get around this system whereby you are not stigmatised, like the parents pay at the beginning of the term and so on and so forth. So there are ways of getting around that. So kids who need the free school meal aren't identified.
Go on.
A bit about capitalism becoming out of control, and you seem to sort of agree with that it needs adjusting. And actually, you say the very, very rich pay more tax. They pay significantly more on their earnings, but what's happened now is the uber wealthy have so much spare cash, it passively earns loads of income without doing a day's work. You could lie in bed.
Because you were saying £4 million a year income, but you're not talking about. You're talking about assets.
I'm talking about assets. I'm talking about capital gains. I'm talking about wealth. But even if if you're talking about people who earn £4 million a year, they probably could afford another tax hike.
So what you're saying, that should, even if that was the right thing, which I don't necessarily agree, is you're saying that should be spent on free free school meals for everyone, even if people can afford it, rather than perhaps a new nurse at a hospital or an extra teacher or helping the disadvantaged. I just don't get
it's not for me to decide where it would go, but I'm saying
Well,
just the working classes, the middle classes, even relatively higher earners, people who are on like six figures, are squeezed at the moment. That is a joke. So we've got to get the money from somewhere.
Let me
and
go.
if you've got, their wealth went up by 1,000% since COVID. 1,000%.
Wealth tax means you've got to go door to door looking for jewellery, right? The Lib Dems tried it, and it's quite tricky. If someone's got a yacht, what happens if they leave the country in it? You know?
Well, we'll survive. They won't, because their assets, it's like Roman Abramovich didn't leave because his football club is here.
It's not, and he did. Diane in Torfan, hello.
Hello, Jeremy. Hello, panel.
So you're at ground zero there. You're where the policy's happening, right, in Wales?
Yeah, it's been happening for quite a while now with my little granddaughter. I asked her, a long time ago, I said, do you like the meals at your school? And she said, yes, Nanny. She said, they're lovely. She said, you got salad bar, this and that. I said, God, that's wonderful. I said, but do you eat them? Because she's a very fussy girl. And she looked at her mother and she said, well, I do. And I said, you don't, do you? And she said, there is a lot of waste, she said. She said she sees all her friends and they don't eat all their food. And I said, well, that is the one big thing that I worry about. There's a lot of waste. I don't like waste.
No, that's bad. Do you think it's right to give free school meals to all the youngest children?
Yeah, why not?
Because it costs a lot of money. That's why not.
They're our future. Listen, Jeremy, they're our future, and we've got to do everything we can to make their life, when they grow up and go on to life, make them a lot better. We must do this for them. Yeah.
OK, Diane, thank you so much. Sarah in Surrey, hello.
Good morning.
You don't agree?
No, I don't. I have a couple of points to make, if I can get them across.
Of course you can.
The first thing is I am a great believer in the welfare and benefit state for those that need it. I don't think it's right to make it universal. There's lots of things going on in the press at the moment about, winter fuel allowance, universal, or whatever. I do think it has to be means tested. Now, from my experience in working on the benefit side of DWP, I had people sitting in front of me that said, yes, we may earn X amount of a year, but by the time I've paid my car loan, my telephone bill, my TV bill, I am left with this. Well, I'm sorry, the benefit system is not there to pay your car loan or your TV package. Now, with regard to stigma, there are many, many ways, as has been said, that councils can circumvent this, so there is no stigma with people that have free school meals and who don't.
Okay,
so my point is, it needs to be regulated.
Needs to be regulated. OK. Bianca in Kent, hello.
Good morning.
So, let me think. Which side are you going to be on? I think you're going to be against it.
Yeah, I am against it, actually. So my daughter has just gone back yesterday in year 3. I am on universal credit and PIP. So she is entitled to free school meals. Yeah. However, I've spoke to her quite often when she has come back and she's had school lunch. And a lot of it she doesn't eat. She's very fussy. There's been days when she's had a jacket potato and she's like, they didn't have any cheese, so I literally just had a jacket potato with a spoon of butter, and that's £2.50.
Oh, good.
And they rotate the menus every 6 weeks, and I just think all parents could do their bit to look through the whole menu and say exactly what their child wants on certain days, and then certain days people do pack lunches. And then I just think it would be a lot fairer and there wouldn't be all the waste.
Would you give a free school meal to everyone up to year 6?
No, because like I say, I don't think a lot of children actually eat the meals anyway.
Think about waste. Thanks, Bianca. This waste thing has come up twice now.
Yeah, if they don't like the food, the kids, it's difficult to get it down them. I think the dinners have improved since I was at school, when you got spam and some lumpy mash, which was disgusting. But in my experience, my kids have quite liked their school dinners. But I went to Italy once and saw this little school trip, and I know I'm being a bit romantic, but they were with their school and they laid the table, they got the beautiful water jug out, and they all had pasta and it smelled really nice. And I was watching, they were all like, it's so cultural, you know.
What,
And
that
I
was
think,
France?
No, Italy.
Italy.
And it just, I mean, just all they had
It's
was
agony
pasta,
to hear that. It
bread,
can't
and
be
some
like
salad.
that all over Italy,
And, you know,
can it?
I know, but pasta's kind of cheap, and a nice tomato sauce is cheap. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
cultural there. So yeah,
I think that will be up to the school, because I've seen, you know, I've visited loads of schools in my time in politics, and there are some schools that do the school meals brilliantly, and so it clearly where it's not working, that's not good enough. But you know, if so many schools can do it really well, then every school should be able to do it.
remember
really
the turkey Twizzlers thing?
Yeah, of course, and forcing the food through the fence as well. Lucy in London, hi.
Hello, good morning, Jeremy.
Hello,
Thank
what would
you
you like
for
to say,
bringing
Lucy?
on this topic. Long overdue topic, I believe. For me, school meal is compulsory. Where is our empathy? You understand? People don't understand. I'm a school governor, and I know in a secondary school, and I want it to be extended to secondary school, because you don't understand what it means not to have food to eat. We spend a lot of our money supporting the developed country, and here we have children in developed country hungry.
Yeah.
And
well,
we come
hang on, the
online-
hungriest get the food. I mean, the issue is whether the state should feed kids whose parents can afford to feed them themselves.
As a taxpayer.
Or the taxpayer,
So-
I should say.
Jeremy, you should understand that cost of living is not only hitting the poor, but the rich is also hitting them. You understand me? So this is not about, sometimes when you eat together as community, that is why we talk about universal services, not targeted services, when people feel as if, oh, I'm in a school meal, I'm not on school meal, I can't afford it. Some of these things, some of these services we offer have to be universal. It
Okay.
has to be universal so that people are not stereotyped.
All right, Lucy, thank you. Later, it's the papers and everything else.